evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq pays an official visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Sunday in response to an invitation from the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The United Nations stresses the possibility of reaching an agreement between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan on the Renaissance Dam. And the Tunisian government decides to prevent movement between governorates until the end of this month to face the COVID-19 pandemic. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. A statement was issued by the Diwan of the Royal Court on the visit of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, confirming the deep-rooted historical relations between the Sultanate of Oman and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and based on the keenness of leaderships of both countries to strengthen the common ties that unite both countries, and in response to the kind invitation to His Majesty the Sultan from his brother, the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq pays an official visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from next Sunday, the 11th of July 2021. During the visit of His Majesty the Sultan, various cooperation aspects which will uplift both countries to the levels that meet with their people's aspirations and targeted goals in all fields will be discussed to reach the results that serve the mutual interests of both countries. His Majesty will be accompanied by a high-level official delegation that includes His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister of Defense Affairs, His Excellency Sayyid Khalid bin Hilal Al Busaidi, Minister of the Diwan of the Royal Court, His Excellency General Sultan bin Muhammad Al Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, His Excellency Sayyid Ahmud bin Faisal Al Busaidi, Minister of Interior, His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, the Foreign Minister, His Excellency Engineer Saeed bin Ahmoud Al Mawali, Minister of Transport, Telecommunications and Information Technology, His Excellency Qais bin Muhammad Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, His Excellency Abd Salam bin Muhammad Al Murshidi, Chairman of the Oman Investment Authority, and His Highness Sayyid Faisal bin Turki Al Said, the Sultanate's ambassador accredited to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The official visit of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia comes to cement the deep-rooted and enshrined relations and the ties of good neighborliness between the both countries. The borders between the two countries have been officially demarcated in March 1990, ushering a new era of cooperation, tranquility, and development. The Sultanate of Oman and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia share not only geographical borders, but also share a sense of brotherhood and mutual interests that bind the two countries in the fields of politics, commerce, religion, and culture. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was among the first destinations for official visits of His Majesty the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said, may his soul rest in peace, when he ascended to the throne in 1970. His Majesty the late Sultan met the late King Faisal bin Abdulaziz. Their first visit and the subsequent visits helped to develop many fields of cooperation between the two countries in various fields. The good relations between the two countries have grown stronger and steadier over the past decades at the hands of His Majesty the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said. The torch has been passed to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, who will continue the legacy of Oman as a good neighborly country and a destination for peacemaking and commercial hub. The official visit of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will be the first visit to stand as a testimony about the exceptional and unique relations that will continue to grow and flourish for the benefit and the interest of the people of both countries. Since the inception of the Gulf Cooperation Council by the Founding Fathers, the Sultanate of Oman and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have been actively supporting the Council, its works and functions to bind the GCC countries together. The Sultanate and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will enter into a new stage of economic, commercial, and investment partnership that gains the support of the two countries' political leaderships and their keenness to foster ties of cooperation aimed at realizing their common interests. This partnership stems from the ambitious goals set by Oman Vision 2040 and Saudi Vision 2030. The two visions encompass a huge volume of investment opportunities that collectively constitute a springboard for economic diversification. Within the context of Oman Vision 2040, the Sultanate strives to build solid grounds of economic diversification empowered by technology, knowledge, and innovation. It will be of an economy-based type on consolidating frontline connections and rear-side support with the purpose of expanding a production expert base in addition to achieving diversity of commercial partners. On the Sultanate's side, the Omani-Saudi road begins at Tan'im roundabout in the Wilayat of Abri al-Dhahra Governorate and runs till the area of Ramlat Khayla on the Saudi border, the length of which is 155 kilometers. On the Saudi side, the road begins at Harad Batha Junction and runs till Shayba oil field and further into Az-Zumul checkpoint along the border with the Sultanate, a stretch of 564 kilometers. Saudi Arabia figures among the most important trade partners of the Sultanate. In 2020, it occupied second place in the list of top importers of Omani non-oil exports, as well as fourth place in the list of re-exporting countries and fifth place in the list from which the Sultanate imports goods. The Foreign Ministry expressed the Sultanate's condemnation for the assassination of the President of the Republic of Hygeri, Juvenal Moise. It also expressed the Sultanate's sincere condolences and sympathy to the government, the friendly people of the Republic of Hygeri, and the family of the late president. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The United Nations stressed the possibility of reaching an agreement between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan on the Renaissance Dam that Addis Ababa is building on the Nile River through mutual trust during a Security Council session held at the request of Tunisia. Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that the dam constituted an existential threat to his country, calling for a legally binding agreement for Ethiopia regarding the dam. It's noteworthy that Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia have been negotiating since the year of 2011 to reach an agreement on filling and operating the Renaissance Dam. The Health Ministry said yesterday that Tunisia's health system has collapsed under the weight of the COVID-19 pandemic, describing the virus effect on the country as catastrophic. On Tuesday alone, Tunisia recorded 9,823 cases and 134 deaths, its worst daily toll from the virus. Hospitals in the North African country have seen a significant influx of patients over the past 2 weeks. The country of approximately 12 million inhabitants has suffered nearly 465,000 cases and 15,735 deaths. Since June 20th, authorities have imposed a total lockdown on 6 regions across Tunisia, including Kairouan, as the number of COVID cases spiraled. The capital, Tunis, has been placed under partial lockdown since last week, with weekend lockdowns from July 10th to prevent crowding at beaches. Yesterday, authorities extended those measures until the end of the month and banned all travel between regions. The fast-moving tropical storm Elsa hit the New York City region with torrential rains and high winds as it trundled up the East Coast today. Maximum sustained winds from the storm peaked nearly 85 kilometers per hour as it moved through New York City to Long Island. Heavy rains were causing potential traffic hazards in New York City and nearby suburbs, which were already reeling from a deluge yesterday that flooded roads and at least one subway station. The system was already blamed for one death in Florida on Wednesday, and Elsa also previously caused a damaging tornado in Georgia. A tropical storm warned this morning stretched along parts of the East Coast from New Jersey to Massachusetts. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq pays an official visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Sunday in response to the invitation from the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The United Nations stresses the possibility of reaching an agreement between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan on the Renaissance Dam. And the Tunisian government decides to prevent movement between governorates until the end of this month to face the COVID-19 pandemic. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios is good night and stay safe.